This has been a pretty realistic depiction of this period. There's a lot more attention to detail, a lot more attention to history.
It was great working with Mark Friedberg again. The challenge of turning New York into LA, a lot of that was squarely on his shoulders.
We knew there were financial, economic incentives for shooting it in New York. And we found that the history of Los Angeles in the 1930s doesn't exist there either. We were going to have to invent it no matter where we shot this film, and might as well do it here.
The story is set in realms, and we wanted very much to make sure that as Mildred travels from realm to realm, that they were both historically accurate, but also distinct from one another.
We love that partial, semi-formed suburban sprawl that became that new form of a city.
This neighborhood in Long Island, the Gables, has maintained its historic character. The story was that the Gables was built for Hollywood actors working on this coast in the 30s, with the idea that they would feel at home in that setting.
We're putting some new rooftops on. The original terracotta sort of clay pot roof that was originally on the homes when they were first built. We're sort of trying as best as possible to sort of make them as close to original as they were. We're painting 4 or 5 of the homes. We are doing a lot of landscaping and gardening to sort of give it a more tropical California feel.
Mildred's house is fun, and it's a particular kind of architecture. It's definitely a sense of a prefab kind of an experience, of a nouveau riche kind of an experience, of a trying harder than it needs to kind of experience. Mildred is really concerned about appearances, and she's made her first house just so. It has a giant crest plastered into the wall with really showy Spanish draperies, as opposed to these more personal spaces. Bert's den, which is personal and lovely and particular to the life Bert lived, was a beautiful room.
Yes, all those matinees your mother dragged us to at the Hollywood Bowl paid off in the end.
Everything did really feel like a home. I mean, I remember walking into Mildred's kitchen for the first time and Todd nudged me and he was like, open up a drawer. Opened up a drawer fully, just, it was like a home. Everything totally set dressed, you know, nothing about it was a facade. You know, the refrigerator actually worked, it was all just there. And that did make a very big difference, particularly to the children, I think. They didn't have to spend any time being fascinated by the movie set.
We shot 27th and Madison and that area for downtown Los Angeles. And we had to shut those streets down, and the art department had to go in and period those up.
Downtown LA was modeled after downtown New York. A lot of it went up in the 20s, specifically the neighborhoods around Madison Park. We wanted to contrast the grandeur of this architecture, both in terms of its difference with Glendale, with the provincial little neighborhood where Mildred is finally venturing out of now that she's a woman on her own, and also to contrast the Depression with the grandeur of this neighborhood. We used Peekskill to create Hollywood. One street worked particularly well for us, with a bank building and a curved deco building.
Peekskill had sort of a nice open feel to it and had these amazing buildings that really, you can't believe that it's not California.
Hollywood, for Mildred, is her first foray into life outside the home. She's going to be a waitress in a diner.
Morning. Sorry I'm late.
Therefore, I was interested in making sure that the diner played almost as an exterior, that it played to a street. What we got from that was a three-dimensional, non-digital, humanly interactive environment that we could see through our plate glass window of our restaurant, which we ended up building.
Yeah, I think something skinnier or, you know, with like nice big tropical leaves.
At the very beginning, we carted trees up from Florida, and where our stages where we had built sort of a big greenhouse, but big palm trees were out in the parking lot. One way to hide things you don't like are cars, trucks, and trees.
Delicious chicken.
Thank you.
Mildred has 2 restaurants, really, that we see that are hers. She has her first restaurant in Glendale, and that was a built set here at Steiner Studios that we found an exterior for in Point Lookout, New York.
Ace job, Mother. That ocean view is really quite stunning.
Mildred's Laguna restaurant was a bigger challenge because Laguna is along the coast. It's supposed to be, you know, in the rougher water where people don't swim. So we found a small yacht club on the North Shore of Long Island. And then with some help from digital effects, we were able to connect that world and that water with a beach scene, as if she's walked around the corner.
Pretty gloomy, huh? Not what it used to be.
The Woolworth Mansion doubled as Monty's grand mansion that is in various states of disrepair.
The big demonstration of Mildred's success was her ability to now buy, essentially, the life of this man that she'd dabbled with and turn his decaying mansion into a beautiful, opulent success.
I tell you, it's all Monty. Thank you.
One of the most beautiful rooms in all the city of New York is the Palace Theater up on 178th Street. It's an old, big, beautiful, gilded theater that felt perfect. But we were very concerned about what would the exterior look like. How would we do downtown LA version of this LA Philharmonic? And we were going to make it pretty much a digital effect experience until we did the research and found out what the Philharmonic looked like, which was architecturally almost identical to the very location that we had. Visually, we've been very restrained in the story, and this is an opportunity as Vita is presenting herself to the world to make something loud. Here we are in 1937, 38, 39 in the world of High Deco, a real exuberant outward design that is very different than anything we've seen in the first 4.5 hours.